Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews. I'm here for a special Q&A panel discussion for the Indian Film Festival of Alberta, Canada, which is doing a special drive-in screening of the Malayalam film Ayyappanum, Koshiyum, as a tribute to director Sachi, who died tragically earlier this year. I'm joined with two members of the team of the film, cinematographer Sudeep Alaman, who has directed his own film, Sleeplessly Yours, and has done wildlife documentaries. I'm also joined by music director Jakes Bajoy, who has done music for films in several industries, Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam cinema, films like Taxiwala, Ishq, Forensic, and Ranam. Jakes attended the prestigious master's program of Stanford University in music, science, and technology. I'm so pleased to talk with both of them today about this fantastic film. Ayyappanum Koshiyum is an amazing film starring Prithviraj and Biju Menon, two men at odds for this 3-hour film, a film of tension, revenge, two men opposite each other in quite a dramatic story. You had experience as a wildlife photographer and doing documentaries, and I read that Sachi wanted this film to be wild and raw. And so how did he ask you to be on this film? How did he narrate the film to you? What did he want it to be like?
So initially I remember meeting him for the first time, and the first thing, even before, as I told you, like even before he telling me the entire film, the first thing he asked me is, I have never worked with a wildlife cameraman, so I wanted this film to be like a wildlife film. So I know you have, your background is you are from wildlife documentaries and stuff. So I wanted this film to be, like a wildlife film where things are right happening right in front of your eyes. It's just happening, and you are there when when the cameraman is right in middle of a tiger chasing a deer, for instance. So whatever. So you are right in middle of that, and when you even watch it, you feel it. So that's what he wanted. He told me there are two antagonists, there are two protagonists, and there's a lot of things going to happen between them. And I want the viewers right to be next to them, watching it, even when they're fighting, feeling it. They need to be really close. We need to bring the audience to where we are shooting. We need to get that feel. That's the initial, the idea, and that's how we came into this particular kind of a visual language. We designed a visual language. We used the lens, which is almost similar to the human eyes, and that's how we all came into this approach, this film.
Now, Jakes, what enhanced many of these intense scenes was your music. Like the background score just always added this tension. I even heard some sounds, especially I'm thinking about when Prithviraj really got angry for the first time in the police station when he had been arrested. I almost heard sort of like growling or kind of roaring kind of, kind of sounds. It kind of reminded me sometimes like there was just this low hum, like a didgeridoo kind of a sound. Was that intentional to kind of have a little bit of low rumbling animal kind of sounds to some of the music?
Just like what Sudeep had said, after the first narration, I had sat with Satyarth on a full narration of the film. So if you think of it, it's a very tiny plot. The plot is, you could probably say the entire story in probably a few seconds. But the conflict of each of these characters, the conflicts they hold, the ideologies that they follow. In fact, Ayyappan Nayar, for that matter, represents the entire terrain of Attappadi. He represents he's an embodiment of the struggles and the issues that people face there. That's in all honesty. So the score, Satyarth said, the score needs to have that kind of subtext. Normally, when you approach a film with these two superstars in a Malayalam industry or South Indian industry, you tend to sort of, even if there is a small close-up scene or high-speed shot of them walking down. You're trying to exaggerate the music so that people get that kind of a feeling. But here it was more like, what is the subtext of a scene? Okay, if for that matter, when Ayyappan Nair in the police station, when he's talking about his past, like why was he called Ayyappan and Nair? Because those two are generally those two names don't go along. And he says in a very casual way, it is because of the anarchy that happened. He speaks about his backstory, and then there the tone you hear is actually the struggles that his mom had gone through.
Mm.
You're just trying to reflect on that, because she was, sort of oppressed back in the days. So in that way, every scene when he came into, and that was a good eye opener for me also in terms of approaching the score, to rather pick on the writer's subtext than to actually score what is really happening on the screen. So something like scoring against the writing. That's what it is.
Right. I definitely felt like there was certain theme music for certain emotions or certain tensions. So go ahead.
Yeah, and I think one of the revelations that we had in this film, and that happened to carry along in our state and all over the country, I feel we found this particular lady. Her name is Nanjiamma.
I was going to ask you about her. Yes.
Yeah. The thing is, after I read the script, I felt a traditional score will not work here because Prithviraj is a superstar in our industry, and to have him sort of having like Sudeep said, nobody is a protagonist or an antagonist, but still he's been normally seen as a guy who's going to, hold the bad people to the task, and he's the one who finishes the film. But in this case, he's also a conflicted character.
Yes.
So you're not scoring for the star there. You're actually trying to find a sound for the terrain. So that's when we decided to hunt for singers from Attappady, and we came across a band. And then I requested Satyanan if I could go to Attappady or if I could bring these people to Cochin, and we decided to bring them here. And while we were recording them, we found this lady called Nanjiamma, who was the lead singer. And there was one particular song where she sang the song with the group, and she started crying at the end. And I inquired why was she crying. She was crying so bad that everybody had to console her. The entire session was stopped for like 5 to 6 minutes. And then we realized that particular song, she's actually her grandmother was actually taught her the song where she sings about a daughter she lost. And that song is called Deva Magale. And each time Nanjiamma sings that song, she gets that feeling and she gets lost in that emotion. And I recorded that particular bit as a solo piece. And when Satyaran came to the studio, he had tears in his eyes because it's so difficult to move that man. He will not get convinced with anything, For the first time, he came in the studio and he just didn't speak for some time. He's like, I found my Attappady sound here. This is my sound. Please take this and explore it. That's how the entire sound palette of Ayyappan and Koshiyum came into the picture.
Wow. So did you come on early in the process? Did he want to show you scenes from the film before you could write this background score? Or it sounds like you were gathering sounds and ideas before the filming even began.
I do that quite often nowadays. And I think that's an approach that I've learned. It's almost impossible for me to just score to the picture. That has happened, but it will come out with futile results. When you're rushing to finish a film in 2-3 weeks, nothing good is going to come out of it. You just have to manage something has to be done. But when you have time of this sort, Satyanan got me, I think Sudeep also, he got me very early into the project. In fact, I had given Satyanan and Prithviraj a lot of the sound palette, like for them to listen to and get into the character or just for them to explore. We were going for this kind of in my mind, it was something like, okay, we need something rural and rooted, but still needs to have that Ennio Morricone or Sergio Leone kind of, this spaghetti western kind of a mood. That blending these two was my task, and each time I experimented, I used to send these tracks to Satyanan for him to just listen to it, and this is the soundscape I'm developing. And once the film was shot, it was rather easy for me to just place these ideas. Of course, I needed to tailor-make some of the music, but most of the basic ideas have already been formed. Yeah,
wow.
Most of the basic ideas have already been written and it was developed. So it was just flushing out at the end in the post-production.
Sudeep, when did you become part of the production? Did you guys work on storyboards with you and Sachi, or how did you work in developing this new visual language that you wanted to have and setting up all these scenes? Or was that something, of the moment on the set and making those kind of decisions?
No, actually, as Jakes was mentioning, even I was quite early in this project. I was in quite early. And what I think we did was we actually spent a lot of time in this place where we were shooting. It's called Attapadi, where the story happens actually. So me and the crew, like Sachiran and his team, we actually spent a lot of time right there searching for locations. We went there, we stayed there. So for even like 2 months, 3 months back, I think we started the filming probably last October 5th or something. And we were there, the first time I went there was around June or something. So even 3 months before we were there, we stayed there for a lot of time. We kept, we kept trekking, we kept seeing locations. So we were actually there, exploring the sunrise, the sunsets, and even the locations where we were, we actually constructed the entire police station. So
oh, wow.
Basically, Sachiran was already there a year back. He had identified a lot of places. So he wanted those places to somehow to be in the film. So he actually showed me all the places, and then we, sort of designed the entire thing. And basically this place is actually really picturesque. It's beautiful. The entire place is really beautiful. But the kind of thing which me and him, we both arrived at was not to show this, show a beautiful landscape kind of visuals everywhere. That wasn't our idea. So basically we had a beautiful landscape right in front of our eyes, and our idea was not to film it beautifully. So that's something exciting. So because we have beautiful windmills right behind the police station, there is, I don't even remember even one shot where we actually show both the police station and windmill. I think there's only one, and that too is a very subtle way. It's not you don't show the windmill couple of times. So I have tried to avoid those kind of cliched beautiful moments and to be right in there. That's how I was there. And I think we were there for a lot of time. We spent a lot of time in that particular place hanging around, and that a lot of improvisations again happened.
Wow. I mean, some of the things that I really noted, especially in watching it a second time, were, for instance, when Koshi is abandoned and he's having to walk back to the village, and there's a close-up of a spider web, and then I mean, that's like one of the few nature shots, but it's a menacing one, complete with eerie music accompanying that he's he's out in the wilds alone with no protection. He doesn't have his driver, and just the visceral way that we are in the middle of the fight sequences, and also when both characters are behind the wheel of the large construction equipment and destroying houses. I don't think normally if you see those kind of shots, it's like from a remove. You're not in the cab of it itself, watching the destruction. Like, it was amazing. So there's so many points like that where I, as a viewer, felt like I am right in the middle of this action, like to the point that I'm uncomfortable because I'm going to get, a punch thrown at me or something. So I can't even imagine what it was like for you. How did you film it? I saw one picture of you with a camera on a helmet or something. So can you tell me more about some of those scenes where you're putting us right in the middle of the action?
When we basically designed, majorly when we designed the fight sequence, the entire idea of the fight was to, so we designed so that the camera is actually very close to them. So there are a lot of moments. So I have used probably only one lens for the entire last final sequence, which is a wide 16 mm perspective lens. And I was very close to them. So when I was very close to them, there are a lot of moments when the action actually happens. Either Prithviraj or Biju Chetan, they'll probably come and hit the camera, or I'll probably go hit them because I'm very close to them. since I'm very close to them, they can't probably use a duplicate for them, so that is actually more challenging for both the actors, because I'm very close to them. If we cheat, if we put another person who looks like him, a lookalike, audience will definitely get it, because we are very close to them. So the major challenging part was definitely for them than me, because I was the third person who was fighting probably with them. And usually when a fight sequence happens, we use multiple cameras so that it's
Right.
easy to shoot. But in this, we have actually used only one camera, because the camera was keep on rotating, and when they move, I move along. And there are a lot of fights in between fight sequence. If you notice, there's actually one big a stick kind of a thing where they both hang on to and they move. So when they move, they actually move. I get down and they move on top of the camera, and the camera moves 180 degree. So it's kind of that's how it's designed. How you are right there in middle of the middle of the fight, and it's actually very close. It's probably like a 3 feet away or 5 feet away. I was that close with them with a wide perspective lens, and so that I can accommodate both the actors in that particular one lens, and you keep hanging around. So there are a lot of moments when I even, as you said, I put a camera on to my helmet to get a perspective of either of them. So there are these moments where I've used my hand and my leg to get just cutaways, because it's you need to feel that particular. And with the visual language, our idea was not to use any high speed slow motion shots, so that probably might take it away from the film and might look a bit of a gimmicky cinematic thing. So we wanted to avoid that as well.
It was not, it was definitely not, there was no normal masala film fight kind of, with leaves rustling up in slow-mo or anything like that. But and there was no stunt doubles. So I'm sure there was pressure to get certain things, like when Prithviraj is throwing him over, to only one take. Like, I'm not going to do this more than once. So you better get it right.
Yeah. I remember the first take was Prithviraj lifting Biju Chetan and throwing him down. So the first idea itself, when they said, we told them that we're not going to use any duplicates, and I'm going to turn the camera along with, when Biju Chetan falls down. So they both look at each other and said, okay, we can do it, but we'll do it once. Obviously, it's going to hurt. He's going to fall down, he's going to throw him, and he's going to fall down in top of a... So we said, okay. And that's how actually we probably looked real. And then they both were in. Huge credits to them.
Jakes, can you tell me about filming? There was a promo song that I don't think was in the film, even over the end credits, that both Prithviraj and Biju sang on this song. Can you tell me about that?
Well, personally to me, I felt while we were designing the song, so Sachetan was very particular about the imagery than making hit songs. So in my I felt that both the songs that we had made for the film would be just helping the narrative than being actually when you have two big stars like this, you need a song that will reach the masses or that will help people to get like a promotion. Mere just for marketing, which is outside this world that we are trying to build. So, and at that point of time, we didn't plan on releasing Nanjiamma's song, the Kalakata song. That was not the idea at all. So that's when I decided, okay, we'll come up with a promo song with words and ideas and tonalities from Ayyappanum, but we'll make a fresh, peppy song that will sort of, be that'll pump up the hype that was already generated, and people get more excited to go to the theaters. Then it accidentally happened that when Sachetan called me one night, Biju Chetan also was there. And Sachetan gave the phone to him, and he started singing. And I felt, oh, Biju Chetan, you sing so well. I mean, you just have to come to the studio tomorrow. I'm going to record you. And that's how I know, because we all know that Raju sings pretty well. So that's when we got Prithviraj and Biju Chetan to come and sing the song. But even before that song, when Kalakata came out, that made the real difference. That song, just broke all our sort of ideas where this would go. The song became a huge, huge success. And people were already into the mood of the film. And when that song came on the titles, you could see the entire theater was going ablaze. Like the people were enjoying it, you know.
Oh, yeah, both. It's such a distinctive sound and rhythm, and I absolutely. The soundtrack is amazing. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's so different. I don't know. It's just very evocative of the film, and it's a delight to hear Biju and Prithviraj's voice. It was
Yeah.
wonderful too in the song.
Yeah.
So it was really a tragedy, Sachi dying so young. Can you tell me a favorite memory of working with him on this film? So why don't you go first, Sudeep?
See, for me, everything is a memory, right from meeting him till I probably saw him last. So I mean it was, I mean, I know it was difficult for probably everyone. So I don't know what I mean. It's been like I have never felt like this before. I have never. I mean, fortunately, I've never lost anyone so far. Like who's been very close to me. So I didn't know how to deal with it. Even when this happened, I was. Even now, it takes a lot of time for me to. Even when I just started wrecking for my next film, everything is probably reminds me of how we were together, because everything was, we were that close. We spent a lot of time together. See, with Ayyappanum Koshiyum, probably he was actually redefining his entire journey. He was starting. I would probably say from he was starting a new probably a journey, and it was a great start for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to, it's everything
It's
was
like,
a
I mean,
memory for me.
I can't even imagine the huge loss that you're feeling, having worked with him so closely, having him as a mentor for your career. It's just a huge loss for the film world, because you said this was such a creatively different film, and it was, I know he and Prithviraj had so many plans on doing further collaborations together. And yeah, it's like all of those films that we're missing out on that could have been. Jakes, can you tell me some one of your favorite memories of working with Sachi? What was it like to work with him?
Well, when Satyarthan is that kind of an individual where, when you meet him even once, you're not going to forget that memory or that conversation you had. He's such a warm-hearted person who is very open to accepting people, whoever they are. And what I feel is, even me and the sound team, Vishnu Govind and all those people, we used to say, he is a person with such an impeccable character. There's no, he doesn't judge people. He accepts everybody if he's talking to me, I'll feel like as if he's known me for more than 10, 15 years. If he's talking to Vishnu, it's the same thing. And we would go on and on after a composing session. He was such a good follower of Hindi, especially Bollywood music. And Hindustani especially was his favorite type of, musical form. And there is not an artist that he misses. He's so well thorough in that particular genre. And it's like Sudhir said, it's like part of us. It's even I felt like we personally were starting a new journey together, and here I found my true mentor. And even after shooting a film of this magnitude, you feel Satyarthan, did he actually shoot it? Because he was so cool. Nothing bothered him. When we saw the footage is when we understood the effort these guys had put in, the direction team and the camera team. But when there are other directors of that kind, you can see that kind of pressure. But Satyarthan, you take your time, man. You relax and come up with a good product. And even when there are timeline pressures, he would never bring it on us. He would say, I got your back. You guys do what you have to do. I totally have your back.
Mm.
And I remember after the final mix, he would hug all of us together, the sound team, and told us that we are a family, and this journey we are just starting it together. There's a long way to go. That's what he told at the end. And I don't know how I'm going to go back to that mixing stage again, because it was a huge loss. Knowing that he went for a very minor surgery and something like this sort happened. I still can't fathom it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stunning. Wow. I love hearing about what a warm person he was, and it sounds like it was just a very close-knit crew working on this amazing film together. So we've all been on lockdown. What kind of projects are you both working on right now? Is filming starting where you are? Or, I mean, it maybe Jake's from the music side, you can work from home more easily than Sudeep can. Jake's, what are you working on? What are some upcoming projects that we should look for that you're doing?
I'm working on a Bollywood Hindi film right now. It's a remake of a popular Telugu film called Bagmati. It's a commercial, horror sort of a flick.
Right.
So that's something that they're already finished, and they're going on to post, and they wanted to get it soon. So I'm working on that at the moment. And interestingly, Sudeep and I are working on a few other projects. So that's the filming is going on. I'm working with the project with Prithviraj also on his own production. So projects I have at least 2 projects right now which I'm working on, which are ready to release in OTT or theaters. I don't know what it is, but there are other projects that discussions are happening. So hope everything comes back to normal soon,
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to feel comfortable going to a movie theater again. So I am appreciative that a lot of these projects are coming to streaming services so that we can all enjoy them together worldwide. Sudeep, what about you? What projects are you working on right now?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of interesting discussions happening, and fortunately, I think the film which I was supposed to do last October, we both were collaborating again, me and Jakes, and so unfortunately that didn't happen. But again, another film which it's again a Prithviraj starring film, which is about to start probably next month, is again. We both are collaborating again. So yeah, right now not started back to normal. Slowly, more of the productions starts, and more of the film on shoot happens, because right now we have a lot of restrictions of 50-member crew, and
I know there's restrictions on crew size. Some people have done creative things, like the recent "See You Soon" was an interesting way to basically, okay, we're all just going to be in a bubble together until this filming is done, and do it in a interesting collaborative way. And I mean, that was definitely felt like a story of the moment. We're all looking at each other through screens just like this. Anyway, so is this project that you're working on with Prithviraj, is it something different than the Lucifer's sequel? Is it a different project? Are you allowed to say what it is?
Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it's no, it's not him directing it. He's just acting.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk a lot about it, even the name of it. But we are planning to start the production on 1st of October if things go well. So yeah, so it's a very interesting project. Again, I think Prithviraj have never been in that particular kind of a character before. So
okay, now I'm really intrigued.
It's interesting.
I'm really intrigued.
It's interesting. I hope the shoot starts, because there's a lot of restrictions happening right now here. So I really want to be back there in a set. I want to see people. I want to see camera. I want to shoot something. So I hope everything comes back to normal soon.
So, Jakes, what's the title of the Hindi film that you're finishing now?
It's called Durgavati.
Okay. And so you're not sure if it's going to be streaming, or they haven't decided yet if it's going to be OTT?
So it's produced by T-Series. T-Series is a big production house, and they said the movie should be out by November, first week of November. So it's a tight deadline. They're trying to finish it.
I will admit that horror is not my main genre, but I will be looking forward to that. But music is especially important in the horror genre, so it can make or break a film. So I trust you to make it creepy.
It's a combination of music. It's a combination of music and silence. Silence is the most important thing in horror. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate this discussion with you. I think it's great that the film festival is honoring Sachi and doing this tribute and hosting this screening. For anyone who hasn't seen this film, this is an amazing film that you absolutely cannot miss, and it's also available on Amazon Prime, Amazon Video to watch if you don't live in Canada and you can't go to the drive-in in Edmonton. Thank you again, both of you, for joining me for this wonderful conversation.